Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Nine podcast. Today is April the 16th, the day after tax day, and the Cardinals to beat the Astros 4-1 to go 4-2 on a homestand that we were a little nervous about against the Phillies and the Astros. Overall, I thought team played very, very well all three games.
They played really well all six games, I thought, this homestand. And like they got shut out yesterday. That sucks. That's baseball. It's gonna happen. I thought Hunter Brown, by the way, that dude's a stud. Like that's if you have any Cy Young bets, long shots you want to put in, he'd be a guy I'd be looking at. He's disgusting.
So
But
while
I
you're on that, before we get to the
yeah,
game, just to drop a little Hunter Brown info, uh, since May 1 of 2024. Hunter Brown has the lowest ERA in the American League at 2.17. That's pretty impressive when you got Scooble and other guys over there in that league. But
mhm.
yeah, he is number one since May 1. Now, obviously, stats are stats. Well, who is number one since May 2, May 2nd? Who is number one since April 30th? I understand all of that. That's a year sample size.
Yeah, it's almost a year, and like Scooble was the Triple Crown winner in the AL right last year. So, and he was better than Scooble. Like not just like it's not like Scooble's been bad this year, and that's weighted the stat. He was better than Scooble from May 1st till the end of last season. So it's not just like, oh, he's been really good this year and like
Correct.
that's not what it is. And Scooble's, I think, a top three pitcher on the planet. So yeah, he's Hunter Brown's really good. We know Houston can find talent there, but a really good series. And they got shut out. I thought their at bats were fine. There was a base hit yesterday that Burley had where I thought Donovan probably should have scored. I think Pop may be a little bit gun shy on sending people after the Pirates fiasco, but regardless, I still thought it was a good series. And today's game was kind of a snooze, but they got the big swing they needed. Six 3-run home runs for the Cardinals already this season. Lars Dupar hit one today. Most in Major League Baseball. That's huge.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Also, to be fair, if you're the Cardinals and you're going to lose one of the three games, it might as well be the one that no one was paying any attention to because the Blues were playing last night. So if you're going to lose one of the three, that was the one to lose. I thought
I watched
today,
that game. I watched that game for exactly 36 minutes. And if you watch hockey, that's the time of the two intermissions.
bingo, bingo.
It's
I
the
think
only
we did
time
the
I
same.
watched
As
it.
soon as they went to intermission, we flipped it over. Max looked pretty good today. It's nice to see some JC have, what do you have, two or three hits today?
Two
Donnie is,
hits,
what's that, 13 now in a row for Donnie?
12. It's a Donnie
12.
dozen.
Okay. Yeah, Donnie, there you go. And then the bullpen did their job today as well. So well-rounded win. Nice to take two of three from Houston when you face Valdez and Brown. That was that. I mean, good good series. I don't know. There's not a lot. I mean, I guess we can dig deep into it if you'd like to dig deep into it.
Yeah, I want to start
But
with Framber.
they're playing pretty good baseball. Yeah, go right ahead.
So coming off of the last week of baseball, we talked about how impressive they were against Paul Skeens, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. Christopher Sanchez got to him a bit, like we just said. Hunter Brown did too. Good pitchers are going to have good outings. That's why they're good pitchers. That's baseball. But overall, the way this team performed in a week span, they beat Paul Skeens, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and Framber Valdez in a 6-day stretch. No, I don't care who you are and how pessimistic you want to be about this team. That's not something they would have done last year. I don't, to be honest with you, we used to talk about this in 2022 when they had a good team. They couldn't beat good pitching then. Like they
No,
would
they
just
could
get shut
not.
down. If it was Sandy Alcantara, there was one game I was at where Sandy pitched. We won 1-0. Sandy threw a complete game and lost. Like things like that's what used to happen to the Cardinals. So it's nice to see. Here was their stat line against Framber Valdez on Monday. Um, Against a left-handed starter. And we know we talked about this a lot this year. They're not great against left-handed pitching because their best hitters, Nootbaar, Donovan, Gorman, guys like that, some of their best hitters in the lineup are all left-handed. They put up against Framber Valdez 6 earned runs, seven earned runs. They changed it. It was 6 earned, 7 earned runs, 10 hits in 4 innings. They only struck out 3 times and they only walked once. So for Framber Valdez to not walk you means he probably had his control. And they just had a great plan against him. And Ollie said this the other day after the game. He said that Framber and Christopher Sanchez are very similar pitchers. They want to keep you on the ground, both left-handed, throw hard sinkers and throw some off-speed off of it. But their main goal is to get early outs on the ground. That's what they do. And he said he was very encouraged that they saw the adjustments from that Christopher Sanchez game to the Valdez game where they just forced Framber to get the ball up. They weren't chasing anything low. And I thought that at bat they encapsulated that Pedro Pajes continues to be huge for this team
Correct.
with I think it was an 8 pitch at bat to hit a double down the line to really open the game up with a 2 RBI double. Like those at bats that they're getting out of guys that you don't expect to do things like that against ace caliber pitchers. That's why they're doing this. They don't have a superstar right now, but everybody's shipping in.
Yeah, and what Arenado had 3 extra base hits, including a home run on Monday, and then Donnie with 4 hits. Sonny looked good. I mean, we haven't gotten to Sonny. We haven't gotten to the pitching really enough in the
They've been
last
great.
week. I mean, we talked a little bit on the last podcast. It was really good, but Sonny looked good. I thought Fetty pitched really, really well yesterday. I mean, honestly, he pitched better, in my opinion, yesterday than he did in the game where he had the no-no against the Pirates. Like, I thought his location was better. I thought his adjustment in pitches and his mix up with his pitch control was very, very solid yesterday. And then today, Steven Matz goes out and gives you 5. When we talked last time, we were concerned, what is Steven Matz going to give you? Well, 5 is what you needed, and 5 is what you got.
Yeah, the game started today where I thought Matz was going to unravel a bit. He allowed the first 2 guys to get on with singles. It was Altuve, and then Pena hit a single. Vic made a bad throw, which I've seen a couple times where these guys refuse to hit their cutoff mans on when they're just not going to get the guy out of third, and then Pena moves up to second base. So you're thinking, oh no, like where's this gonna go for Steven Matz? That's probably at least 2 runs. He got out of the inning with 1 run. He only allowed 2 base runners the entire game, and it was the first 2 batters of the game. So after that, he was awesome. And we talked about the 6-man rotation and how it's concerning that the bullpen could be overused. But if you're going to get outings like that, then the concern goes away, especially from what we saw from Michaelis and we saw from him. Okay, so 2 podcasts ago, we talked about the Cardinals being dead last in baseball and ERA. So they were at a 5.2, I think. Since then, it's been right around a week's time, almost exactly a week, actually, since that Pirates series ended. They're now 16th in Major League Baseball, and they have lowered the ERA down to a 4.07. Now, that's by no means something to cheer about. A 4.07 is not fantastic. But to go a whole week where you can basically eliminate all the damage that Boston Red Sox series did to you, that shows you how well they've pitched. I think I saw a stat since the blow-up game the Michaelis had, the Michaelis Palante day where they were both really bad and you lost 2 to Boston. Since that day, starting pitchers have allowed 6 earned runs, I believe, in a week is what it is. And 3 of those were Miles Michaelis. So, in 1 start, they've been awesome. Like, genuinely, they've done a great job. And you talked about Fetty. His control is still a little weird. Like, he still walked a bunch of guys yesterday. But I think the good news is I don't think that's who he is. I don't think he's just going to walk a bunch of guys. His stuff looks really good. Like, his stuff actually looks really good. He's just not – he just has some early season control problems. So I'm not worried about Eric Fetty, but he's looked much better, I think.
Yep. Before we keep going, by the way, I guess we should go ahead and give the shout out to the St. Louis Blues for making the playoffs. We don't have to talk too much about that. But for a team that nobody thought had a shot, that's pretty awesome. Now your reward is you get to go play the best team in the NHL. But you know what? The West is a gauntlet no matter who you're going to play. And I'd rather go ahead and get Winnipeg early, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a chance.
Me neither.
I think either they have I think they either have a chance to win or they're going to get blown out. Like, we'll see. We'll probably know more. We'll know more on Saturday when they play. But just amazing. Like, Dylan Holloway's probably not going to play this series. I don't know if he'll play the next one if they move on, which really sucks because you feel like you're not going in full strength. But not many teams are going in full strength. So I'm just excited to have a team that I like that I can be excited for a playoff game again. I don't remember the last time I had that.
And then also we all know with the NHL, the goalie gets hot. That's what you ride. That's what you ride from April to June. And if Benner gets hot, you never know. So shout out to them. That was pretty awesome to see last night. Calgary obviously loses in a shootout, and in you go.
Yeah, I'm really pumped up for that. I cannot wait for Saturday to come to feel the nerves again that I haven't felt. The last playoff game for a team we like that we cared about was without Zion Williamson, so we knew they were going to lose. So I'm just excited to have one where I have some hope.
That is 100% correct. I don't know if there's much more to talk about as far as the Astros series go, but I do have a couple questions for you. I did happen to hop on the old Twitter sphere for just a few minutes today, just to find out that there are people who believe that the Wilson and the Sonny Gray contracts are bad, and are bad contracts. I don't understand
There's
it. Maybe you
one
can give me.
person that believes that.
Of course, there is. Like St. Louis media died years ago, as far as I'm
No,
concerned.
no, don't do that
Not
because you're
media,
being
not
disrespectful
media.
to
That's
everyone
wrong.
over one
Say,
person's
there,
take.
there's certain talk. There's a certain aspect group of sports talk in St. Louis that died years ago. Not all of it.
I don't think
Not
that's
all of it.
St. Louis. I think that's sports media in general.
You are probably correct. That's what I
Watch
used to listen to.
ESPN
Yeah, well, I don't.
if you can
But
bear it.
yes, we agree.
That's what I'm saying. But
I don't get it. I didn't.
I don't want
I
to get into
watched
this
part of it.
even.
I'm not gonna justify it. It's just I don't understand it because he's not catching. If that was your reason to make the decision, that is legitimately one of the silliest things that I've ever heard.
There's two things. Like, did the Cardinals handle the Wilson Contreras contract after signing well? No. Like, that's
No.
for sure. We all know that.
Agreed.
Everyone agrees with that. That's not even an opinion. That's a fact. I would guess if you gave Mosaic truth serum, he would agree.
Right.
There's again. I can't stop. It's just ingrained in my DNA.
We gotta get rid of it.
But has it been a good contract? Yeah, overwhelmingly positive so far. Like, he's had a tough start to the year. What if you care about a player's stats on April 16th? Go look at Juan Soto stats. He's struggling. It's fine. What he said about who he's not hitting in front of anymore was quite funny when Pete Alonso's sitting right behind him. But I think both of them have been overwhelmingly positive contracts. There's nothing bad you can even say about Sonny Gray. And for the Wilson, like, Sonny's been awesome so far. Like, exactly what $25 million gets you out of a pitcher. Like, that's what he's been. Look at some of the guys that signed for 20 plus this year. Nick Pivetta signed for 3 years, 65-ish, 70-ish, around that. Like, you're getting a guy that could be better than anyone else making his salary for Sonny Gray is what I'll say. And for Wilson, here's the analogy I was thinking about in my head because I wanted to think of one because I was going to tweet it out, but then decided I didn't want to get into whatever argument was going to start. If you let's say you signed Steven Matz to his contract for 4 years, $44 million, and you signed him to be a starting pitcher, but what if he got hurt that first year and then they tried him as a closer and he was an elite closer? Would you say it was a bad contract because he wasn't a starter anymore, even though you're getting your money's worth? So that's not like that. Just seems like you're looking for reasons to be angry about something. Because if Wilson Contreras ends up being a top 10 first baseman in baseball this year, offensively, then that's well worth your $18 million. And who gives a shit where he's playing?
Remind me, right? The Phillies went ahead and signed Bryce Harper to be their right fielder for their future. Mm-hmm. He's not playing right field anymore. Do you think that there's anyone in the Philadelphia front office, the dugout, or the fan base that thinks the Bryce Harper deal was a bad deal because he's now playing first base and not right field?
It just doesn't. And I will say those are differences in that, right? Because a catcher is a different value than a right fielder. But yes, your point still stands. No one cares, and nor should you care. Like, position changes are position changes. I remember when the Astros were in on Wilson Contreras, one of the big reasons they kind of wanted to sign him was because they said, even if he can't be a catcher, this guy's athletic enough to go play first base or play left field or just DH, and he's good enough as a hitter to do that anyway. For me, you're sign good players and figure the rest out later.
Correct. And also testament to Herrera, Pages, fill in the blank, that you felt comfortable enough. Ozo, right?
It's in his hitting streak today, by the way.
That you felt comfortable enough to say, we have this great hitter that we're going to move to first base because we feel comfortable with what we're putting in a catcher. And it elongates, in theory, Wilson Contreras' tenure here.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a top 20 hitter in Major League Baseball since he's been a Cardinal for $18 million. Like, look at what Kyle Tucker's about to get. And I'm not saying he's Kyle Tucker. He's not. Kyle Tucker's one of the, in my opinion, a top 10 player in Major League Baseball for Kyle Tucker. He's amazing. But regardless, like, I still think you're going to be paying him half of what Tucker's getting per year, and Tucker's going to get 10 to 12 years on his contract probably. Like, you're getting great value from Contreras. I know he started slowly. This happened in 2023, for those of you who might not remember, because that season sucked so bad that we all tried to forget it. He got off to a slow start and was fine the rest of the year. I have no concerns about him. Even if, like, say his 5th year here is not good, which is, I don't know if it's likely, but it's definitely possible. You still got more than your money's worth. So
absolutely. I don't remember the contract, but I mean, what did Houston pay for Jose Abreu, who at the time was like an elite
3 years, 60?
Right. And they cut him through was it at the end of the first year or the middle through the second year? Whenever it was.
Halfway through the second year.
Gone. So, like, I just don't understand people saying things that logically make absolutely no sense. And I'm glad I wouldn't have. It's my fault. I shouldn't have got. That's why I don't get on Twitter. I wouldn't have even known this was a thing. And I got on there and I saw it and I fell into it. I did not comment, but
The thing that
I
kind of
just don't
annoyed me
understand it.
about it too is it's like if you want to have fair criticisms of John Mozeliak and say he has had not the best time in free agency, that's 100% correct, and you have a plenty of options to support that. Dexter Fowler, even though his contract, looking back at it, not as bad as some people think it was fine. Like the fact that they used him as a reason not to go after Bryce Harper, that's bad. But the contract
Correct.
itself, he was pretty good for 2 or 3 years. He wasn't horrible. Greg Holland, and the list goes on. There's plenty of options. Brett Cecil, Andrew Miller, way overpaid, and everyone knew they overpaid when they did it. But if you're gonna like criticize him for his two good moves, then I just don't get it.
Yeah, we agree. So the one Thursday that the Cardinals play in like 2 months, I think, is tomorrow as they head to Gotham to take on the Mets. 11-7. I think the Mets. Our Cardinals come in at 9-9. The Mets still. I don't know what to make of the Mets at all. I think their
Their
pitching
pitching's
is
awful.
probably do what?
It's awful.
Yeah, but it's been pretty decent actually this year at times.
I
So
know, but I don't get it.
I don't. That's what I was gonna say. I think their pitching might be overproducing, and you might be getting them at the right time where you got a lot of hitters who are sort of struggling at this point. And they're still
Yeah, I
11
think
and
they're coming
7.
off. Yeah, they're a good team. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the NL East or if they're right up there. I mean, the Braves and the Phillies are having a weird start to the year. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Mets end up winning the division. But I'm not so sure. Like going into a 4-game series, I'm too like horrified. Like they could win 3 or 4 against us, and then this could look bad. But I don't think you're going into the big bad, you know, Yankees of old and just doomed because you're in Citi Field. They are good. Like you look up and down their lineup, Lindor, obviously, Soto, obviously, Alonso. Those are guys that can beat you on any swing. Vientos is a guy I really like. I think he's good. I don't know how he started this year. You would know more than
Terrible.
that.
He's hitting
Yeah.
145. He's been awful.
Yeah, and maybe he's a guy that's gonna have a sophomore slump. That's definitely possible. But it's not a series where I'm looking at it and saying, "Wow, the Cardinals are at a big disadvantage with the pitching matchups." I don't think.
No, I did. Can you pull up those pitching matchups? Because
I
obviously,
can.
I mean, Clay Holmes, they moved him like he's in the rotation with McGill, Senga, David Peterson, and Griffin Canning.
All right,
I
I
don't
got
know
him.
who we
You ready?
I don't know who we faced this year, but all four of those guys.
So
I mean, Canning's the only one with an ERA over 4, and three of them have an ERA under 3. So
yeah, Cardinals has been awesome. Wow. Okay. Palante against Canning in game one. Palante has the edge in that one, ERA wise. Michaelis and Peterson in game two. I don't know how that's gonna go. I couldn't tell you at all. They probably lose that game. Liberatore and Senga. That'll be a fun one. And then Sonny Gray against Clay Holmes in game four. There's not like this isn't a scenario. I think with the rotation right now and how solid everyone outside of Michaelis has been, I'm not really concerned about the rotation like I thought I would be. Like I think Liberatore can go out there and match Kodai, whatever Kodai Senga does. That wouldn't surprise me on Saturday.
I'm going to be honest. I'm still a little concerned. I love what we've seen over the last week. Don't get me wrong, but I am still a little concerned about the long haul with this pitching staff. I'm and the rotation especially. However, with that being said, I mean, you look at the lineup and they're the name like Alonso really the only one that jumps out. I think Torrens isn't he the catcher who's played really well, filling in for why can I not think
Francisco
of it? Yeah,
Alvarez.
there it is. He's played really well. And now you've always got to deal with Lindor, and you've got to deal with Marte, and you've got to deal with Vientos. Like those guys are there, and Nimmo. I mean, but
Soto.
I don't see any reason why the Cardinals can't go in there against those 4 guys you just named on the bump and score runs. Like we've done against guys who, in my opinion, no shade to anyone here, are better pitchers.
I mean, I think it's objective that they're better pitchers. Like
I get it, but
Kodai Senga is the one guy that he was elite 2 years ago in his first year, and he could do that again, and then maybe he's in that conversation. David Pearson also a guy that I think is actually pretty good. I don't know how good, but I think he's decent. Clay Holmes, I don't know what to expect. To be quite honest, I haven't watched one start. He has decent stats so far, but I know him as the closer that always walked people, so I don't know. But I guess we can give our predictions because I don't have much else to say. I guess I think they're going to split. It's tough to go on the road.
same.
It's tough to go on the road for any 4-game series and take 3 or 4. That'd be fantastic. I think losing 3 or 4 would be rough because that would be the second time this season where they got momentum and then just lost it immediately. So I'm gonna say they split.
One of my favorites as a kid and even probably as a team, I would say, was when the Cardinals were playing the Mets at Shea Stadium, because Mike Shannon absolutely like became the Mike Shannon when they were in New York, and some of his calls were unbelievable. And I am going to be sad that he's not going to tell the audience, you guys should see the moon here in New York. I wish you could see it back home. Like, I do wish like that we could have that call again, not understanding that everyone sees the same moon. I think Mike thought the moon might be a little bit different in New York, but I always loved when we were in New York because he had some of the best radio calls of all time. I'm gonna say it's a split just because it's a 4 game series, right? I mean, that just feels that way. I would love to see the Cardinals get out going at it tomorrow night against Griffin Canning. I mean, I think if Palante is decent, which he's been very good, Griffin Canning's a guy you could put a lot of runs up against, I believe, and it would be nice to see them take number one, take that first game, and then all bets are off at that point, because that I just think that's an important one tomorrow night to go get. I'm also going to say they're going to split.
And one of the things for tomorrow's matchup, we know all know Palante is the reverse splits guy. If that trend holds, which it's Juan Soto, it's Lindor, it's Brandon Nimmo, they can all do something tomorrow and no one would be shocked regardless of the splits. But there's a chance that he can neutralize those three. And if he can do that, then you're really looking at not letting Vientos and P. Alonso beat you. Like starting Marte, right. I'm not worried about starting Marte in 2025. Like if he might hit a double sometime, but I'm not worried about him. But if he can neutralize,
he's going to go
lefties,
14 for 16 in this series.
I mean, it's possible, but I'm still not going to be scared of him when he comes to the plate.
You want to say anything about Soto's comments? I found them interesting. I also here's the thing, and I don't remember who I was listening to. It was Michael Lowell, maybe made a really good point that you just don't know the context in which the question was asked, and also you don't know with the barrier. I don't think he was trying to throw shade at Pete Alonso. That's what I'll say.
No, but I think he meant exactly what he said, which is accurate.
Agreed. It's like when you leave the best hitter in baseball. Yes, we agree.
Yeah, like you're going to see better pitches to hit if you're hitting in Yankee Stadium in front of Aaron Judge. Like, There's no one alive that doesn't know that that's true. I will say, shouldn't say it. Yeah. One, you're on the Mets now. You're not. It's not like he just went to the Tampa Bay Rays or he went to the San Francisco Giants. You're on the New York Mets. You don't say that. No, you just don't say that. That's one. And two, Pete Alonso's been one of the best hitters in baseball to start the year. So what's your excuse even?
Right.
Like no one wants to pitch.
I think he just was talking about how they're pitching him differently. I think that was
okay. Then talk to your coaches about that.
We agree.
Dude. Not only did you go to the New York Mets for more money, you then lied about the fact that they didn't give you the most money, which we all know they did, and said that there were other reasons. I always wanted to be a Met. When the Yankees thought you were going to be a Yankee again, but then you last second switched it up and went to the Mets. So now you're the guy that they all hate because you left the Yankees to go to the Mets, and now you're complimenting Aaron Judge, but also not saying, like, here's how it could have been. Because I'm being pitched a little bit differently, not having the MVP behind me, but I still have a really good hitter in Pete Alonso behind me, so it's not too big of a concern for me. Like, that's how you answer the question.
Fine, that's fine. That would have been a.
He also,
I don't know. That's how Juan Soto is going to answer that question in his non-native language. That's all I'm saying.
Another thing, did he have Francisco Lindor, a guy like Francisco Lindor, batting ahead of him when he was on the Yankees? I don't think so.
No, he did not.
I don't care.
I wouldn't be too worried if I'm a Mets fan about Juan Soto, if we're going to be honest.
No, but that's not a comment you want to hear from your superstar.
Yeah, I get it.
You just paid $800 million to. Did he? Also, by the way, Juan Soto had his best years when he had nobody in his lineup with him in Washington.
Any thoughts on Nolan's comments about Tucker leaving, which probably is why he's not a Houston Astro?
That's exactly what we all thought.
Right, agreed. But it was nice. I mean, he said it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I honestly, I believe it was I think that was Katie Wu and Chandler Rome's story for the Athletic. So I didn't hear how he said it. I mean, one, like obviously that's all. Mosaic knew that's why that happened too. I kind of wish he would have just said, I'm glad I'm a Cardinal. You know,
so do we need to have every athlete run their response by you before it goes out?
You asked me my thoughts.
No, I'm asking. Like, it feels like you were much more. I think it's hard to answer questions right on the spot without sometimes saying something stupid.
And a sit-down interview?
Yeah, not that what Nolan said is dumb, by the way.
I don't think it's dumb either, and I don't hate it. But part of me does wish that he sounded more excited to still be here, even though we all know he's not.
He's had a pretty good year, though. So hey, there we go.
Really good start to the year. And I don't mind it because I think I bet with him, he knows everybody understands what the circumstances were and that he only wanted to leave the Cardinals if he was going to go to a great team. And so everyone, like, he almost didn't even have to say that about Kyle Tucker, that we all knew that's why he did that.
Right, right. But he did
Like, if
say
Kyle,
it. So
yeah, and it doesn't bother me by any means. Like, I'm not angry about it, but part of me does wish he was like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm happy with the Cardinals. I'm glad we're here. We're off to a good start.
So we did promise everyone that we were going to put out our first Major League Baseball this week in baseball on Monday, but we did not. But we are going to do it on Friday, correct? Is this correct? This is on the books, done, signed, sealed, delivered.
We were supposed to be doing one last night, and I called you and you were eating ice cream.
I was. I said, but I literally, as your mom was talking to you, I put the ice cream in the freezer to get ready to do it, and you said, then you called me back like 3 minutes later and said, let's just do it tomorrow night.
Friday night is what it.
And then you said, let's do it Friday.
I didn't. No, that's not what happened. I said Friday the whole time.
So this seems like this was on you.
Well, you just lied. You just legitimately
did not lie. You called and you said, let's just do it Friday.
You just said, I said, let's do it tomorrow. I didn't say that.
I meant this one. I'm sorry. I meant this one. And then, because we're going to do them both today. And then you said, oh, no, let's do it Friday. This does not feel like this is my fault by any means.
All right, well, that's what it is.
I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about, though, in Major League Baseball that we really haven't had a chance to discuss. So I really do want to talk about one thing I do want to talk to you before we get out of here that is relevant to the Cardinals and Cardinal fans. Justin Steele goes under the knife, which you hate to see with anybody, but Tommy John surgery, right? Did we hint a little bit about this on the last pod? I don't remember if we did or not.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it.
But I think, and we'll talk more about this on Friday when we talk about the Cubs. I just don't think there's a team that's going to run away with this division. I truly do not. And where the Cardinals sit right now, 9-9, and I know you could argue, hey, they could easily be 12-6 and sitting right there with the Cubs, but they're only a game and a half out, and obviously it's 18 games. Little over 10% of the season is done. I just don't see a team running away with it. I think the Reds have really good pitching. I question their hitting. I don't know again how the Brewers are 10-9. I don't even understand that at all. But the Cubs are sitting there, I think, at 12-7, 12-8, something like that. I just think this could be a dogfight with 4 teams the entire year, to be honest.
I think it's gonna be 2 teams. I think it's gonna be the Cardinals and the Cubs.
Really?
Every other team in the division is legitimately not good.
I think that I like that Reds pitching staff.
It's fine.
Hunter Green is like right now dominant, and Lodolo's been really good.
Yeah, he'll pitch 12 starts.
I don't like your negativity for a guy that's on my fantasy football baseball team.
He was on my team for 3 years. He'll pitch 12 starts. No, it's not that I don't think the Reds have a chance to be like a 500 team. I just don't think they're going to be better than that. I think the Brewers aren't good. And I think the Cardinals and Cubs could both be around 86 plus wins. And I think that's probably around what you're looking at. Like the Cubs I think there is a team that can run away with the division, and it's the Cubs.
Agreed.
One team can, it's them. If they keep hitting like this, they're going to.
Haven't we said we don't think the Brewers are good for like the last 8 years?
Yes, but I think my philosophy on it eventually catches up to you to let this many good players go. It just does. Like historically speaking, teams don't let, like we saw with the Rays, right? We said how many years in a row were the Rays going to keep letting guys go, and then they trade a Rosarena, and now they're kind of not that good anymore. It caught up.
Except they're scoring like 19 runs a game.
They're playing in a little league ballpark, but yes,
they are.
But for the Brewers, I think they let Hader go, and you can live with that. He's a closer. You let Burns go. He was never coming back. I don't think that was too big of a shot. But now Woodruff's still hurt, and you traded away. Go. And I'm continuing. Yes, Devin.
Right. Sorry.
Yes, you traded Devin, who was the guy that took over for Hader and kind of is the reason that blow wasn't such a big loss for the team. And then the heart of your team's gone. That played every single day at shortstop and batted third. He's gone.
I didn't realize you had the Oxford comma in there. I thought you were done. So my apologies. I was trying to add on.
I had more names, and they've lost more people too. Like they eventually it's going to catch up to you. I don't think they're going to be bad. I think they're going to be around 80 to 83 wins.
They're the Pittsburgh Steelers of baseball right now. They somehow end up with 9 wins. That's so the equivalent of over 500. They're not going to win in the playoffs, and there's nobody on that team. There's 1 or 2 guys on that team that jump out as really great. Like I love Jackson Churio. I really do. He is on my
Mhm.
fantasy team one, but I also love him. I'm a big fan of his. But there's no they are the Pittsburgh Steelers, not of the old days. They don't have the history. I'm saying of the last 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. I think the only difference is I don't think that even a head coach like Mike Tomlin, if you want to say Pat Murphy's that good, I don't think coaches in baseball have that much of an impact as the Mike Tomlin does in football. So once again, I think eventually their luck's going to run out.
Yep. I
Because
don't
I am
doubt
going
it.
to say I think mostly it's been luck,
Yeah.
the reason that they're here.
I'm excited to see when the Cardinals end up playing the Cubs. I'm gonna try to maybe talk your mom into coming
June,
up. I know, but I think they play them in Wrigley in September. Want to maybe try to see if we can make that happen. So
I will probably, yeah, that'd be fun.
that'd be awesome.
Especially if they're
Anyway,
in it.
yes, correct. Anything else we've got for the Cardinals for the Mets series?
Yes. I've got
Yes,
something for the Cardinals. Thomas to JC, you talked about him earlier. We talked about this last episode. I don't think there's any reason to send him down. I'm still standing strong to that.
agreed.
So I tweeted that out today, and someone said, a couple people said Luke and Baker should go down. So I wanted to give Luke and Baker some props. Okay. He hasn't ball over the wall yet. We all know that's kind of what you're hoping he does off the bench. He hits some big homers, and I still think he will for sure. What is Luke and Baker on this team to do? I'm going to do a little Q&A here. What's
What
his
is
main
he here
job?
to do?
Yeah, what's his
To
job?
hit against left-handed batter or pitching.
Okay. Is an 885 OPS good?
Pretty good.
That's his OPS against left-handed pitching.
Correct.
So
All
why
right.
would you send a guy down that's
Would
doing his
not.
job perfectly?
Who? Hold on. Can I just?
I got
Who's
like four.
saying this?
I got like 4 responses.
From people that you feel.
I mean, we are coming off a game where he grounded 2 double plays. He hasn't exactly lit it up lately, and he hasn't hit the homers that we want. But he's just missed a couple but I think in a month are going to be homers. And at Bush, by the way, Bush is playing really tough this year. By the way,
It is.
Wilson Contreras should have like 5 homers, and he has 1. Nolan Gorman should have 4 or 5 homers. He has 1.
Correct.
There's been a bunch of balls. Like Lars Nootbaar hit that ball like 110 today, and it got like only 5 feet out of center field. Like it's tough right now. We know it's April at Bush. Bush is tough all year long, but especially in April to the big parts of the field. Luke and Baker, that's not a guy that you put him on the bench to do exactly what he's doing,
Correct.
and you don't want to take that away from you, and especially if you're keep doing that to keep a guy that's just a worse version of your center fielder you already have. Also,
Yes.
to coincide with the Siani talk, Jordan Walker looks great in right field right now. He's making a bunch of really good plays. Now, are there some of these plays that he's diving for? Maybe because he didn't take the best route. Yes. Regardless, he's catching the ball. So I don't think I think if Jordan Walker keeps playing like he is in right field, the conversation about having to take him out late in games kind of goes away, and then Siani's role in the team really goes away.
We agree. A couple things of Walker that annoy me a little bit. He does have a very good arm. He does not understand the cutoff man, and it has cost the Cardinals a couple times on throws to third, letting guys go to second base. That drives me absolutely insane when your job is to throw it right through the head of the shortstop, not 6 feet over it, even though it's on the line. That drives me wild.
Yeah. I think a couple things. One, when you have a guy like Walker who's young and an athletic freak, and we all know this, sometimes that's going to pay off and he's going to hose the guy, right?
Right.
Like that's going to happen. And when that happens, can you live with, once a week, him giving a guy an extra 90 feet? If that means maybe once a week he throws a guy out that he might not be able to if he's trying to keep the ball down. Like those are the give and takes with a young team. So it's a learning process for him. He's in a new position. I know it's not that new anymore, but still kind of new. He'll figure it out. I'm not worried about that.
I
But yes,
agree. Time and place is a big thing for me. I hate when he does it with 1 out or less. Like if there's 2 outs, let it ride. Like that's fine. I understand at that point if you think you can get him with 2 outs, I get it. But to take away a double play, it rubs me the wrong way at times.
Speaking as a former outfielder, I will say when you see that guy running and you think you have a chance, there's nothing better because you never.
I get it
because those chances don't come around very often. When you think you can get them, you're letting it fly.
I get it.
And then Dennis Sharp's gonna scream at you.
Well, even if you get him.
No, actually that did happen. Yes.
Yes, I'm well aware. So, all right, well, let's get out of here then. Mets, at 6:15 probably St. Louis time tomorrow night, maybe 6. Might even be earlier than that.
It could be 5 something. Let me look. They are playing at 6:10 both Thursday and Friday. A nice 3 p.m. Saturday game. So
okay,
that's weird.
National
and then
TV?
a 12 game on Sunday. No, I wouldn't think so. Yeah, on Fox.
Okay, that's what I figured. And then we got the Blues. What time do the Blues play on Saturday. I have a bunch of buddies coming down, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
There's still some seeding that needs to be done. So
Okay.
there's still some things up in the air. We'll know for sure, I would imagine, by the end of tomorrow, because that's the last day
Okay.
of the regular season.
All right.
I would
All right. So
I would assume since Winnipeg's the Western time zone, I believe. Pretty sure.
it's either Western
It's
or
the Western time.
Mountain. Pacific or
It's the
Mountain. I don't know.
Western, I'm pretty sure. It wouldn't surprise me if you get a good old 9 o'clock playoff game.
Okay. All right. I like those.
I would love that.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Those
hey,
are some
thank you
Jordan
everybody
Kyrou
for
hat
joining
trick.
us.
Wait, before we leave,
Yes.
do the Blues win the playoffs, the first round? Yes or no?
I mean, if I'm betting, no, but my heart says yes. So there you go.
I think they can. I think it goes 7 no matter what.
Okay. You just said earlier you thought they could get blown out.
They could. Like if they're down 3-0 in the second period, I'm like, oh, like that's possible.
If it
But
goes
I have too
7,
much. I have too much
I
faith
like
in
the
Jordan
Blues.
Bennington. I have too much faith in Jordan Bennington to steal at least 2 games by himself.
Yeah, Winnipeg's fast, man. They are a talented
They're
hockey
just too.
team.
They're huge. It
Yeah,
sucks.
they
that
are.
we don't have Dylan Holloway, but whatever.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, thank you everybody for joining us. It was great to be back and talking about a Cardinals series victory. We will be back on Friday going over our roundup for Major League Baseball, and then we'll
Allegedly.
also be back on Sunday, which will be Easter. So happy Easter to y'all. And we'll be back Sunday wrapping up the Mets. Hopefully a good series for the Cardinals and maybe another series win. So we will talk to you soon. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. Go Cards.